Do you want a website that's highly functional and loads extremely fast on a shared server that's not optimized with the minimal amount of code to do it? If so, you've come to the right place. Hi, my name is Tim Unkert, and I design websites and program. In this video, we're going to create a math website for students that will give them feedback on their solutions. It's going to be created with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and I'm going to use VS Code. But first, if you like videos like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. It really helps the channel grow. And I'll also leave links to my GitHub in the description below if you want to follow me there. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Okay, so this is the website we're going to be building. What's happening here is we're having the HTML that's being displayed is being generated with JavaScript. So if you see this first problem here, x plus 7 times x plus 2, if I refresh, I get x plus 1 times x plus 2. So these numbers are being randomly generated along with the solutions. Now, I kind of, as I made it, I didn't put the X on the incorrect solutions. So it's pretty easy to see which the correct solution is. But the functionality that we have here is that if I click on it, you'll see I get a green check if it's right and an X if it's wrong. Okay, so this gives the student feedback as they go. They can refresh the page, try out many problems. It's great for practice. So that's what we're going to be building. Let's get started. What I'm going to do is go to my extensions. The only extension that I'm going to install for this is going to be a theme. So I want the theme that I'm going to use to be Winter is Coming. So let's see if we can find that. Winter is coming. The reason being is that I was skiing yesterday and there's still not a lot of snow on Vail, so we need to have a good theme. So let's install that. Okay, and let's do the dark blue. Cool. All right. All right, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's expand this to full screen here. Let's also just take a look at the settings here, and let's make the font size a little bit larger for this video. Let's make it 18, and let's close that out. And let's now open a folder that we're going to have this in. And I was thinking for this video, it'd be great to do problems like x plus 2 times like x plus 4, which would of course be x squared plus 6x plus 8. So create problems like that for students. For this project, I'm going to incorporate Bootstrap just for styling. We're not going to have a nav menu or anything like that, but it's just going to kind of help to lay out the problems. So let's do that. All right. So, but first we have to have a project folder. So I'm going to create a project folder, and I'm going to call this interactive website. Okay, and let's create it. Okay, and let's just move this up here, and I'm going to click OK. All right, and we're going to load up with that interactive website. And I'm going to say, yes, I trust the authors because I am the author. Okay, all right. So now let's create some files. So I want a file called index.html. I want a file called script.js. Okay. And that's pretty much it because I'm going to use all Bootstrap styling. So, all right. So we'll go here and we'll go to Bootstrap 5. Okay. And the internet's a little slow this morning. So we're going to go here. And we're going to have this link once this website pulls up here. Okay, so we're going to take this CSS link, just copy it. Okay. Now I'm going to do an exclamation point here and hit tab, and that's going to give me a framework, or just kind of an outline, HTML outline. And let's just call this interactive website. Okay. And let's paste that in here. Okay. And I'm going to do Alt-Z so I can get word wrap here. And now we'll start on the HTML framework that we're going to use. So I want to first start with a container. So I'm going to write .container. And then within the container, I'm going to have a row. So I'm going to have, actually, I'm going to have in parentheses, I'll have a row. And then within the row, I'm going to have I want three problems for each. So I want to do .col -md -4 times 3. Within that, I think I want a card. So let's look at the card documentation. Let's go up here and we'll search the docs for card. Get some coffee. All right, so we go down here and we want something kind of like this. I don't want the image cap. So I just want a div class of a card. I want a card body, the card title, and the card text. So I want to have H5 with the card title, P with the card text. I'm going to kind of copy this example. So, all right, so within each one of these, I want a card. And within each card, I want to have, let's see, I want to have, it's going to be a card body. All right, so .card -body. And then within that, what I want is a card title and then a card text. So I want an H5 .card title plus P .card text. Okay, and I want to move outside of these parentheses because I want 3 rows of this. All right, so that'll give me 9 problems. And if I hit tab, okay, we're going to go do this. Now, I should have set my settings. I like when I'm doing with Bootstrap to have just 2 indentation of 2 spaces, but you'll see, you know, it kind of created it all right, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to save this, but then actually I'm going to go to the bottom here, and right below the closing bottom tag, I want to bring in that script. So I want to do, let's see, script source and tab that out, and we'll just have script.js for my source. Okay, so we'll save that, and then now let's go to the script.js, and in there, let's create a for loop. So we're going to say for, and then let I equal 0. We're going to do this 9 times. I is less than 9, so that's how I'm going to get the 9 times, and I plus plus. Okay, so for that for loop, what I want to do is let's just write in the H5. So I'm going to say const H5, or no, const, we'll call this problem heading. Let's be a bit more descriptive. We'll do that in camel case. That's going to equal document dot query selector all. And then within that, we'll pass in the H5. Now you could also use the class to identify this, and we also want the index of it. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is write a template literal into there, basically just with the problem number. So I'm going to say problem heading dot inner HTML equals, and then we'll do a template literal, and we'll do problem, and then pass in I plus 1 because we don't want to start with problem 0. And I think that's going to be it for that. And we'll pull this up here. And what we'll do is, actually, we'll go into our folders here. Sorry. We'll go into our folders, into our Linux files, so into our interactive website. Let's open, let's just view it, okay? And so you'll see here each of these cards, maybe you don't see them that well, but you see that the JavaScript has numbered the problems, okay? So we're off to a good start, okay? Now, technically, we probably shouldn't be calling functions from a for loop, but I might. It's going to be quick and dirty. So let's create well, let's actually, before we get to there, let's create another another variable, and we'll call that problem paragraph. And that's going to be document .query selector all of the paragraph, and we'll just write something in here as well, and we'll write something like problem paragraph inner HTML, just to make sure that I'm targeting these right. We'll do another template literal. We'll do this is the paragraph for problem, and then we'll pass in I plus 1, okay? And then we'll save that and go back to our site and refresh, and you'll see that now the JavaScript is creating that paragraph. Pretty sweet. So we've really only done 5 lines of JavaScript code, okay? All right. So now what I'm going to do is drink some more coffee, and then let's think about how we're going to create this problem, because we want to go to, let me show you what I'm talking about on a draw island here. So this is a draw island, a really cool site. You should check it out. Anyway, so we're going to have something like x plus 2 times x plus 4. So we need to generate some random numbers. So let's actually, let's create a function that does that. Let's call it function random numbers. And that function will return some variable random number, I guess, and we'll say let's have let random number equal, let's do math.floor, and then inside of that we'll do math.random. Now math.random is a method that will return a number between 0 and 0.99999. But if we multiply it times, say, 10, then we would have some number between 0 and 10. So let's say math.random returned 0.71 something, right? If we multiply that by 10, it would be 7.1 something. The math.floor is just going to round it down to 7. So if I do times 10, I'm going to get numbers between 0 and 9. And then I add 1, I would get numbers between 1 and 10. Now, I want, let's say, numbers, let's do numbers between 1 and 10, because we only have 9 problems. So I'm going to do times 10 plus 1. Okay, and then we'll just say here return random number. Okay, and so here we'll say, and now these two random numbers we're trying to generate in our problem are the two constants. In this case, the two constants are 2 and 4. Okay, so now there is the keyword const in JavaScript from E6 on. So we want to have something different than const, but we could do constant 1. Okay. And we could say that equals, or actually we should say let constant 1 equal random numbers. Whoops, tabbed out the wrong thing. And then we'll also let constant 2, trying to tab even though I haven't typed the name yet. Constant 2 equal random numbers. Okay, and we're going to save it. Okay, and so let's fix this. Let's go here and take this out here. And instead, we're going to say problem paragraph.innerHTML equals, let's do x plus, now let's pass in constant 1 times x plus, we'll pass in constant, oops, we got to actually do this, curly braces, constant 2. Okay, and we'll hit Control S to save it. And we'll see if this is getting what I want to do, because again, I haven't done this in a few months. So yeah, okay. So now we've got randomly generated problems. Now watch, we've got x plus 6 times x plus 5 and x plus 8 times x plus 10. If we refresh, well, now we've got x plus 2 times x plus 6 and x plus 4 times x plus 10. So the numbers are changing every time I refresh it, right? So if you were to put this up on a website for students, and you're thinking about academic integrity, you're going to notice that the problems will be different for every student. So if you really want to get complex, which I did when I was a teacher, I would create the problems, have students answer, we record it, send it to a database, and score them. And every student would get something different. So I did this during last year. I was a teacher. I was doing this during COVID. And kids were like, uh-oh, they're all different. So pretty cool. Anyways, so, all right. So what we're going to do is we are going to now now we have to create potential answers. So we have to create a function for that. And the function's got to take in constant 1 and constant 2. All right, so we're going to do function, and we'll call this function create solutions. And this has got to take in constant 1 and constant 2, because it's got to, it's got to use those to create potential solutions. So what we're going to do is first, let's focus on what the correct solution would be. So the correct solution is going to be basically x squared plus constant 1 plus constant 2 times x plus then constant 1 times constant 2. And if you want to see why that works, if you think about it, I'll just give you a hint. The quick shortcut is x squared, add these two, so plus 6x, multiply these two, so 2 times 4 is 8, so plus 8. So that's our solution. So that's our method. So we're adding here the two constant values, and then we're multiplying here the two constant values. Okay? So, all right. So we're going to say let core sol, which is going to be my abbreviation for the correct solution. That's going to be a template literal. And so we're going to return basically a string. And we're going to say, so we want to return more than one thing. Let's call this create correct solution. Yeah. I just want to have this function kind of short and sweet. So we're going to let core sol, which is what we're going to return, that's going to be x, and I'm going to pass this into the inner HTML, so it's going to be x squared. So I'm going to write a little HTML here. Plus, then we'll do constant 1. Oops. Constant 1 plus constant 2. Okay. Times x plus, then we're going to pass in constant 1 times constant 2. I'm going to wrap this around, times constant 2. And yeah, that's going to be my solution. Okay, and then we'll return core sol. Okay, so one thing I forgot to do was include the list items when I created the HTML. So I want an unordered list for each of those. So we're going to have to deal with that issue. And again, I haven't done this in a few months, so that's part of the problem. But all right, we're going to create another function, but we'll get to that. We'll create another function for incorrect solution 1. Excuse me. And we're going to have to pass in constant 1 and constant 2. And all right, and then we're going to have, we're going to say let in core sol. Let's call it in core sol 1. I keep capitalizing the end for some reason. That's also going to be a template literal. Let's do something like, we'll still start with the x squared. That part will be right. But then we'll do, we'll multiply const 1. Now, I should say that maybe in certain circumstances, this will create 2 correct solutions, and one of them will be marked incorrect. If you have like x plus 2 times x plus 2. So we're going to have to get rid of that, and we can do that within our for loop, I think. So we want to have constant 1 here. Okay. And yeah, we're multiplying those, and then we'll add the last 2. So we'll do, and actually, yeah, we can just make this full screen here. Adding constant 1 and constant 2. I don't know if it's my computer, but I do feel like this is running slow today. Anyone else notice that with VS Code lately? Feel free to comment in the comments below. All right. Maybe it's just me. All right. So we're going to return in core sol 1, okay, for that function. And let's create another function for this. So we want to have probably 4 answers, multiple choice answers. So let's create 2 more functions. So we'll have function incorrect. Instead of solution 1, we'll make it incorrect solution 2. And then we'll have we'll pass in constant 1 and constant 2. And all right, we'll say let in-car sol2 equal, and then we'll do another template literal. We'll have x squared again, plus then let's subtract the middle 2 terms. So let's do constant 1 minus constant 2. Plus, then let's do constant 1 times constant 2. Just like it's, so the ending will be the right one, because we want to be a little tricky, right? Yeah. All right. See my evil laugh. Yeah, make it tricky. All right. Then we'll have in-car sol2. We're going to return that. Okay. And then we've got just one more function to create for this, so bear with me here. And so we're going to create another function that's going to be incorrect solution 3. And we'll have pass in constant 1 and constant 2. And we'll say let in-car sol 3, really, 3 equal, now we're going to do another template literal. We'll do x squared plus, let's get goofy and let's do const 1, and we'll do the modulo, so the remainder of constant 1 divided by constant 2, okay? Okay, and then we'll do plus constant 1 times constant 2. Okay, and let's return that. So let's return in-car sol3. Okay, all right, cool. And we'll save that up to this point. All right, so I also want to randomize the solution order. So I want to have a variable that, or some function that randomizes them. So let's create another function, and let's call this, and you'll see where I'm going with this in a moment, hopefully, randomizer. And we're not going to pass in anything to that. All we're going to say is let order variable, let's just call it order variable, equal math.floor, and I want to have numbers 0, 1, 2, or 3. So math.floor, so the way I'm going to do that is math.random times 4, and not add a +1. That'll give me numbers 0 through 3. And I'm going to return order variable. Okay, so that's going to help me to, from this for loop, I can call that, and depending on the number, I can then randomize the order of the solutions. Okay, so let's go back here. And one thing I want to do is below this paragraph, I want to have an unordered list and I want to have 4 list items. So let's see. So if I do this with Alt, I can get these two. So I can do it. I can say UL. So I'll do this a little quicker. We have 9 to do. I should have done this when we originally did it, but I didn't. Okay, so with 4 list items. So, okay, and then let's move up here. We got 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll do UL with 4 list items, and that's good there. And then we'll move this up, and we'll do 1, 2, 3, and we'll do an unordered list with 4 list items. Hit Tab, save this, and we've got just 1 more to go. So UL. So that's a nice, the multi-line edit tool is pretty cool with VS Code. All right, so we've got our unordered list. Let's take a look, and we may, we want to refresh it and see if, okay, so now we're seeing our list items come through. So that's going to be where our potential solutions are. But these are dots. So I want to actually have my unordered list item be A, B, C, or D, okay? So let's go to the top here. Now, I didn't create a separate style sheet. I'm just going to put a style tag here because we're not doing enough to really worry about it. So I'm going to say ULLI and list style type, and I want to do, I think, lower alpha, okay? Control S to save, refresh, and we've got A, B, C, D. So, okay, so now we've got what's your typical multiple choice answers. And we probably want some directions above here, but that could raise another issue, which we can fix very simply, but I'll show you what the issue is in a moment when we get there. We're not there yet. We have to first list out the list items, okay? All right, so let's go back to our script.js file. And while we're in the for loop here, we also want to create our list items. So variables for that. So let's just say const answer 1. And that's going to equal document query selector all. We're going to select a list item, and we're going to do 4 times I, because there's going to be, because there's 4 per card, okay? And copy that, and then paste, and we'll have answer 2, answer 3, and answer 4. Okay, and for answer 2, we'll have +1. For answer 3, we'll have +2. And for answer 4, we'll have +3. Okay, all right. So now if we didn't want to randomize it, we could just say answer1.innerHTML equals correct solution, right? Create correct solution. But I do want to randomize this. So what I need to do here is I need to call this randomizer function. So we're going to say, let's have let var order, no, not var order, let solution order, so sol order, that's going to equal randomizer. Okay, and then we'll have a conditional statement. So we'll say if sol order, now this might get a little messy. If sol order, and I'm going to put this in parentheses. So if sol order triple equals 0, then what we're going to do is we're going to say that answer1.innerHTML, oops, answer1.innerHTML is going to equal, let's go and we're going to have to call that function. So it's create correct solution. And we've got to pass in the constant 1 and constant 2. So I've actually got to call this after. I'm going to move this. So I've got to call this after this part, let constant 1 and constant 2. So yeah, I'm not in the right order here. Constant 2. And yeah. Okay, so let me move this, and then we'll continue on our merry way with this if, else conditional. Okay, so I'm going to just Control X that, and then let's move it down here. And again, this may be a little bit messy. There's better ways to organize this, I'm sure, but I was building these kind of little mini sites during my, basically during my prep period, which was about 45 minutes, and I had that amount of time to create this, okay? So this is how I'm doing it. And now this video is much slower because I'm explaining everything. So, all right. So then we'll say answer2.innerHTML is going to equal, then we want to have correct solution 1. And we've got to pass in constant 1 and constant 2. Okay, and then we've got answer 3.inner HTML equals incorrect solution 2 with passing in constant 1 and constant 2. Okay. And then answer 4 is going to equal incorrect solution incorrect solution 3. I'm just trying to get that. There we go. And we're passing in constant 1 and constant 2. Okay. All right, so we got that part. Now I'm going to say we're going to do an else if. All right, and we're going to change the order. So if sol order, if that equals 1, well then I'm going to take this code right here. Oops. Come on. I'll take this code right here and paste it right here, but then I want to change the order. So let's just change these two. Let's change this to 1, and I'll change this one to 2. Okay, and then I'll take this code here, copy it. We're going to have a little statement down here, else if sol order equals 2. Well, then let's paste this in. I'm going to make this 3. We'll switch 3 and 2. And actually, let's make this 1, and then because we want okay, and we'll switch that, and then we'll just say else, because that's the only other option we have. Paste this in here. So let's do 4 down here. Make 4 the correct one, and let's make 3 correct here. Okay. All right. So that's our solution order right now. Let's check where we're at and see if we have any errors. We're having something, a little issue. So B on all of these is not working. Why is B not working? Okay. So it's like it's not cycling. Let me see if we have any errors. So go to the console, log here. No errors. Okay, so I'm thinking that I probably, oh, I see what I did. That's the error. I have to put the +1 inside of here. Okay, and then let's refresh. Okay, so now we've got solutions, potential solutions. And what we've got to do is now check for these solutions. So the other thing I want to add is a color when you click on them, and I want to add a class. So for the correct solution, so in this case, answer 1 is the correct solution, right? So we're going to take answer 1 and let's see, we're going to add the class. We're going to do class list dot add, and we'll call this class green. Okay, and let's just copy this here and go here and paste. And this time 2 is going to be the correct solution, so we're going to change this to 2. Okay, and then we'll copy and paste here, and this time 3 is going to be the correct solution. So we'll copy it to 3, and in this last one, 4 is going to be the correct solution. Okay, and we'll save. All right, now, so let's refresh. So if we look at problem 1, this should be x squared plus 8x plus 15. So it should be C. So let's inspect. So you'll see we have that class of green on there. The other ones don't have the class of green. Okay, so next one, this should be x squared plus 13x plus 40. So that's also C. Let's find a different one. X squared plus 9x plus 20. So let's inspect this. And we see the second one has a class of green that's inserted from the JavaScript. Okay, so let's go back here now, and we'll add an event listener onto this. So we're going to take we're going to take each of these. So we're going to say answer 1 dot add event listener. We're going to listen for a click, and we're going to then pass, let's just do an arrow function here. Okay, so an arrow function, and we'll say, we'll have an if else. So if answer 1, oops, I spelled that wrong. No, I didn't, never mind. If answer 1 dot, whoops, it's giving me an error because I got to put that in parentheses. So if answer one dot class list dot contains green, then we're going to say answer one dot inner HTML equals to, we don't really need a template literal, but I'm just going to use the backticks. We're going to have, let's make it, let's do a check symbol in HTML. And we'll also add a style. So we'll say answer one dot inner, dot style. No, adding it. Let me look this up. Make sure I'm doing this right. I haven't done this in a little while. So adding a style in JavaScript. So let's just take a look. Make sure I'm getting the notation correctly. So to add styles to an element, let's click on this. JavaScript tutorial.net is the first thing that comes up. And while that's loading, I'm going to take a sip of coffee. Okay, yeah, I was on the right track. So dot style dot color, yeah, that's what I want to do actually. Dot style dot color equals, it's going to be, just put it, yep, just put it in there, green. Okay, we'll say else answer one dot inner HTML equals, we'll do a big X mark. Okay, and we'll say answer one, there's some tea being brewed in the background in case you're wondering, dot style dot color equals red. Okay, let's save that and let's see where we're at. Okay, we're going to refresh. Okay, and click. Okay, so that's incorrect. So we're starting to give the student feedback. So we're going to do that for the rest. I'm going to pause right now because there's some tea in the background. I'm just going to move to a different room. So just bear with me in for 1 sec. Hold on. Okay, so we are back here. And let's move this up here. So we've got, solution one working. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do the same thing with answer 2, answer 3, and answer 4. So let's do that. So we're going to say answer 2 equals, or no, not equals, dot add event listener. We're going to listen for a click. And we'll use an arrow function here. And then on the click, we'll say the same thing. So we're going to copy the same code here. We'll just change it to 2. Now, again, there might be more elegant ways to do this. If you know of one or want to comment, please comment in the comments below. Feel free. Always open to that kind of stuff. Now, we're just going to we're going to change all these. So to answer 2, right? And actually, I'm thinking of an even faster way we can do this is to just copy the entire thing down here. So let's copy this entire thing and do that for answer 3 and answer 4. Semicolon here. And semicolon there. Okay, so let's do this for 3. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy the whole thing with the semicolon. And then we'll do it with 4. Okay, and we're going to hit save. All right. All right, so let's refresh. Okay. All right, so x squared plus 9, or x plus 9 times x plus 7, that should be x squared plus 16x plus 63. So we get that green check mark there. So that is working. Now, if we chose one of these, we get the red X. Okay, let's test it out with this one. We're going to have x squared plus 12x plus 36. Okay, you notice we get 2 solutions, so we may want to take care of that. I probably don't want the same number because we don't want to run into this, okay? So we're just going to put something to take care of that. Up here, we'll put, so we've got these. So we'll then say if, and then in parentheses, if constant 1, if that equals constant 2, well, then what we're going to do is we're just going to pick them again. Okay. No, not if, while. A while loop. Because we want them to not be the same. So we could pick them again. They could get to be the same one. So we'll do a while loop. And pass that in here. And okay, and so we've got that. Now let's refresh and let's make, okay, so we have no infinite loop. Phew. Okay, so now we're going to eliminate that problem where you have the 2 answers with that, okay? So they're all going to be different level problems. We can go, except we got 2 answers here that are the same. So because the difference and the remainder are the same. So how would we eliminate that? Okay, so that's a problem that arose. So it's maybe an issue with logic. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to, in our function where we create that incorrect answer using the modulo, let's add, well, no. Well, we'd have to think of ways to take care of that. I could add one. Yeah, probably adding one would do it because, you know, when you have like a number like 7 and 5, 7 minus 5 is 2, but the remainder is also going to be 2. So yeah, let's add 1, or we could change the order. We could have constant 2 modulo constant 1. That might work as well. So anyways, let's refresh, make sure everything's okay. This one, let's see, it would be x squared plus 9x plus 8. So this should be the correct solution, and we'd get incorrect solutions here, here, and here. Okay, interesting. So something happened with answer 4. Let's take a look. So this is part of the debugging process here. And what happened is we didn't correct it for all of these. Okay, so this is good that you test this kind of stuff. Okay, so let's refresh. And now we have an error. Okay, so to check what the error is, and I'm sure it's something with what we just did, because Okay, that was just an interesting hang there. Basically, if we refresh, it's doing it again. Okay, the weird hang that I was getting, I did have an error in my logic. I was redeclaring this in the while loop, and that was causing it to hang in certain circumstances. So, yeah, it was part of the debugging process. VS Code did not show me having any errors, so any syntax errors, but it was definitely messing it up. Anyway, so we've got our program back. What we can do now is, like this one's going to be x squared plus 13x plus 42. So that should be right. This should be wrong. This should be wrong. And this should be wrong. Okay. So it's working properly. We can refresh it and we'll get totally different problems for our students, and they can pick these problems and choose them. What I'm going to do now is pause the video. I'm going to upload it to a server, and we're going to test out the performance of this site. So hold on one sec. So I've gone ahead and uploaded it to the server. I have the project site. I'm going to include this link in the description below. Let's test out the load time. Okay, so let's go to Pingdom. We'll do a Pingdom speed test here on it. And now keep in mind that my server is a shared server. It's nothing fast. So we'll see what the performance is. So we're going to pass that in. Okay, and let's try North America. We'll do Washington, D.C., because that's a little bit further away from Colorado than San Francisco is. So we'll start the test. Okay. Okay, so we run the test. The load time is 377 milliseconds. Performance grade is 97. And the functionality is greater than anything you could potentially get in a WordPress site. I say that because this is a lesson to web developers out there. You can absolutely program in the functionality very easily and very quickly. I did it in my classes all the time, and I think the misconception is that we need WordPress with all these plugins and that. Now, WordPress is fine if you want to have a site that your client wants to update. That's perfectly fine and understandable, and maybe the best choice. But if you're looking for pure performance, it's best to go and code it yourself. Honestly, I believe it's faster. That's my personal preference, though. That's my thing. So if you have any thoughts about that, comment in the comments below. I mean, this is no knock against WordPress, but I'm just saying you can make advanced functionality much faster. I had sites that would basically do this, create the problems, score the students on their answers, send it to a database so I would get the grades, and then I would just download an Excel, upload it to the program we used for tracking our grades online, and I didn't have to do any grading. And that typically ran with the PHP in the background. For that, it would still be well under a second, 500 milliseconds to about 750 milliseconds based on the tests that I ran. But look at this. We got a functional test. We did it in an hour about with explanations. The performance grade is 97. The load time is 377 milliseconds. So that's 0.377 seconds. There's a misconception to get functionality. Oh, you have to have the lot of stuff in there. I've even heard people say, oh, you know, you're not going to get a site load faster than 3 to 5 seconds. That's wrong. Okay. Anyways, So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some JavaScript. The JavaScript that I wrote was not optimized either. That about this speed. It was not optimized. It was kind of like I just piled down the code, because when I was doing this as a teacher, I just needed to get that code done and get it done quickly. And yeah. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.